Hello, welcome everybody to a special edition of Seeking Heaven, the Near-Death Experience and Other Phenomena. Welcome everybody. We are an affiliate group of Spiritual Awakenings International. And today we have a very special guest, which is the president and co-founder of Dr. Yvonne Kason, that's going to be talking about the upcoming speakers. So let me bring her on and we're going to have some fun. And all these speakers are free too. It's amazing. Hi, hi, Dr. Kason. How are
Hi there,
you?
Tamara. Hi, everybody that's listening.
So I know you work very hard at getting speakers that are very fascinating and have really interesting stories, whether they're near-death experiencers or spiritually transformative experiencers. I know that's something because I've talked to you because I'm on the board as well, and I know that's something that you're very diligent about doing. Let's go ahead before we go into the speakers. I wanted to first, could you tell everyone watching, because some people may not know who or what is Spiritual Awakenings International, and then why you found it. And also I wanted to kind of give you a little PR thing here, is that Dr. Yvonne Kason was the person who coined the term spiritually transformative experiences in her book, Touched by the Light, which is phenomenal. If you guys have not read the book, it goes into every spiritual transformative experience, every type of near-death an NDE. There are different types of NDEs, but she does go through all of this. So I love your book. So I did want to
Thank
mention
you.
that, and then also that you are you are an MD in Canada, a family physician for years, and also a researcher for was it 30, 40 years, a long
40
time.
years.
40 years. Okay, I was trying to, but yeah, of near-death experiencers as well as those psychotherapists. So I'm trying to think if I left anything out. You have a lot of credentials.
Yeah, I do. So, sure. Thank you, Tamara. Hello, everybody. As Tamara said, I'm Dr. Yvonne Kason, and I am the president and co-founder of Spiritual Awakenings International. And before I tell you about some of our upcoming events and speakers, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Spiritual Awakenings International and why I founded it together with Robert Baer. And I like to think of Spiritual Awakenings International as the original. That we were the very first organization that was founded by experiencers for experiencers. I'm a multiple STE experiencer and multiple NDE experiencer. And the co-founder, Robert Baer, he is also a multiple STE and multiple NDE experiencer. And we both had a really strong calling from spirit, what some people call a download. We both had a download 2 years ago. It was in 2019. We both got the download that we were to found a new organization with this very broad focus, the whole range of different types of spiritual experiences, spiritual awakenings, all types of STEs, not just to focus on one type. There are groups out there and have been for many years that look at, for example, just the near-death experience. Or there are other groups that are looking just at UFO encounters, or another group that's looking at remote viewing, or another group that's looking at mediumship. And what I know from my own personal multiple STE experiences, for example, I had a Kundalini awakening when I was in my 20s with a mystical experience. Then I had a near-death experience. Then I had a psychic awakening with clairvoyant experiences. Then I started having past life recall. To only look at one thing out of those whole bunch of experiences is like leaving out a lot of things. And that we really have to look at the whole range of spiritually transformative experiences that people are having today. And so that is what Spiritual Awakenings International, the original, was founded to do. That we are focused at looking at the whole range of spiritually transformative experiences. And so the sorts of speakers that we've been inviting are focusing on usually they're experiencers. We prefer to have speakers that are experiencers themselves so that they can talk from a firsthand perspective. Although sometimes we have world-class researchers on who've researched phenomenal information that confirms the reality of spiritually transformative experiences. But we've looked at everything from Kundalini awakenings to past life recall, to UFO abductions, and of course, many near-death experiencers, many people with mediumship experiences, many people who've had premonitions, precognition, past life recall. So that is how Spiritual Awakenings International is different from other organizations that are out there. And another reason we are different is that we are committed to offering all of our online events for free, because we believe in our hearts as experiencers that this information has to get out there, because there are so many people in the world. I mean, it's phenomenal how SAI, that's what I call Spiritual Awakenings International, SAI. It's phenomenal how SAI has grown, that in just 1 year, we've got approximately 2,000 subscribers from 58 countries around the world. That blows me away, from all 6 continents, every continent except Antarctica. We're still waiting for someone from Antarctica. But that there are people all over the world having STEs, or spiritually transformative experiences. And often they're feeling isolated. They're feeling alone. They're feeling they have to stay in the closet, that the people around them are labeling their experiences as crazy, or they just don't feel safe to come out and talk about their experiences. So Spiritual Awakenings International is providing a safe place where people can feel normal, because so many people, including myself as president, are multiple STE and multiple NDE experiencers. And I've been advocating for STE experiencers for years. I coined the phrase actually back in 1994 in my earlier book, and I wrote about it more in my more recent book that you mentioned, Touched by the Light. But 1994 is when I coined that phrase, spiritually transformative experiences. And what I said then, I say still to this day with even more enthusiasm, is that STE experiencers are not crazy. These experiences are not a sign of mental illness, that our medical profession has to stop mislabeling this as hallucinations or signs of mental illness. And also the general public needs to wake up a little bit and realize this is part of a global spiritual awakening, sort of an expansion of consciousness that's happening. And more people, what used to be considered paranormal is the new normal for more and more people. So that is the message of Spiritual Awakenings International, Tamara. And as a calling from Spirit, Robert and I founded SAI a year ago, and we are the original, the group who is saying, we are by experiencers, for experiencers, looking at the whole range of spiritually transformative experiences. Sorry, I can't hear you, Tamara.
Okay, I'm back.
There you are.
I did that. I was clearing my throat. I've got a little bit of a cold, so I didn't want anyone to hear me do that. So thank you for that. Well, that's what interested me so much with SAI, is that when I had you on the Seeking Heaven channel, and you kind of came out and go, Tamara, you have blah, 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 blah. And you started naming not near-death experiences. Well, you did name that too, in different types, but you started naming all these spiritual experiences that someone could have. And you said, you've had them all. I went, yes, how do you know that? Of course, that was very naive on my part to say that.
That is my specialty.
You've done this once or twice before, so you know the signs. So really, it's and I also want to shout out a couple of people here today. We've got Deborah, we've got Nicole, which is my cousin, who went through, and she's very spiritual, and she also studies similar things that you have, Dr. Kason, but she also looked at all your listing. If you go to awakeningsinternational.org, you can see all the different signs of spiritual awakenings, NDEs. So
The
I
types
encourage
of
you.
STEs, yeah, the same as I list in my book, we listed on the SAI website. So people can go through the list and go, gosh, I'm having way more types of STEs than I realized. And often people will
Mhm.
go, oh, there's a name for that. I didn't even know there was a name for that.
Well, that's what I did, is she did the same thing too. So I encourage you to go look at that, because there is a name to it. And it's amazing that you started the coined the term spiritually transformative experience. So, or experiencers, or STE, or STEs. So let me go ahead. I think now's a good time. I want to just show, now we're not going to leave it up to here the whole time, just for a minute. I want to leave up some of the speakers so you could go through that, and people can, if you wanted to start out with it, and then I'll take it off and put it back on.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Actually, I'll just highlight the names right now while the slide is up, and then I'll get you to take the slide down. So in August, so this is coming up just in a couple weeks, on Saturday, August 21st. It's always the third Saturday of each month that we have our Spiritual Awakenings International events. They're all online. They're free. They're usually at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can register on our SAI website. It's at the bottom there, spiritualawakeningsinternational.org, and they're free. So in August, our speaker is going to be Dr. Judith Miller, who I'm going to tell you more about in a minute, talking about the importance of living the sacred in these times of great upheaval. And then in September, we're going to have the psychic attorneys, Mark Anthony, talking about debunking death. Evidence of reincarnation and how near-death experiences debunk death, because truly none of us die. And then in October 16th, Kirsty Salisbury, all the way from New Zealand, talking about her own near-death experience at the age of 12. In November, we're having a special veterans event with Remembrance Day, Veterans Day being in November, to honor our military. We have now started the tradition of having a military event in November, because a lot of our military are having NDEs and STEs. And Ben Riggs, I'll be telling you what he's going to talk about. It's going to be very exciting. In December, it's going to be you, Tamara, is going to be speaking to us. And then in January, we have a very exciting speaker, Lewis Brown Griggs, who's had multiple NDEs, including most recently when he was on the COVID respirator with COVID-19 last year. He had 2 near-death experiences. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I know people would want to hear that one because, just because it's so fresh on everybody's mind. Well, that's a really good lineup. So do you want to?
Yeah. I'll just tell everybody a little bit more to tease you and tantalize you about some of our upcoming speakers. Now, all of these people, all of them are STE experiencers themselves. So they are talking from a point of they know what they're talking about because they've experienced it, which I think always adds a new level of credibility to everything that's said. And they use research to back up what they've actually experienced. So Judith Miller is going to be our speaker in August, on August 21st. And Judith is by profession a PhD, and she's a professor of clinical and developmental psychology at Columbia University. And she's also been very active internationally teaching holotropic breathwork. And holotropic breathwork is one of these techniques that is to put people into altered states, which will often help people release perhaps if they have unconscious blocks, and also will sometimes induce actual spiritual awakenings. Anyway, she's going to be talking about how important it is in this time of great upheaval on the planet to be firmly anchored in our spiritual center. I was just talking to Tamara before we came live on air about how tumultuous the times are right now, and how stirred up the energy on the planet is. And Judith is going to be talking about this. But each of us who are STE experiencers, we're very sensitive to that. We're sensitive to the external energies. So it becomes very, very important that we are grounded and centered in our strength. And what our strength is the rock, which is our spirituality. God is my refuge and my strength. Those are the words that I use now when feeling being tossed by the currents of what's happening. God is my refuge and my strength. And then my feet feel firmly planted in the ground in spirit. If there are individuals out there who have problems with the God concept, well, okay, spirit is my refuge and my strength. So you can modify the word so to what feels comfortable for you. So that is so important. And she's also, Judith in September is going to be talking about, it's not September, August, in 2 weeks, is going to be talking about all the different prophecies that have come from various traditions that have said that there are going to be this time on the planet of a lot of upheaval. And, you know, it happens with change. In order for change to occur, and psychologically we know this, particularly from the recovery model, you know, people breaking out of addictions, that the very first step in the healing process is to get out of denial. And sometimes when the truth of what's been under the surface comes up, it can look a little bit ugly. And I call this in the psychological model, it's like lancing a boil. The guck, the yucky stuff that was in the boil was always there. But when you first lance the boil, which is necessary before healing can occur, before healing can come from the bottom, when all the gucky stuff comes out, it's like, ooh, this is awful, you know, and you might feel like things are getting worse, but actually it's getting better because it's now been exposed, and the yucky stuff that's been exposed, that's maybe causing a bit of chaos, turmoil, whether it be social chaos, political chaos, personal chaos, is actually progress. It's a sign that healing is happening. Anyway, I hope that's not over people's heads, but that is what Judith Miller will be talking about on August 21st. I now want to move on to our September speaker, which is also really exciting. This is another experiencer. His name is Mark Anthony, who's known as the Psychic Explorer. And he was born as a medium. He comes from a family of mediums, and he was born a medium. Later on in his life, he also had a near-death experience, which might have increased his mediumistic abilities. But he is also a fully trained lawyer. And so he's an interesting combination, being both a medium and a lawyer. So he's also known as the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer. So he's going to be talking about evidence that really there is no death. His talk is called Debunking Death. Evidence from past life memories about reincarnation, and also evidence from NDEs that show that, guess what? There really is no death. That we are spiritual beings and our souls live on incarnation after incarnation. He also does something real interesting that people can ask questions about, which is his psychic explorer thing, where he likes to go to places on the planet where there are mysteries like the Bermuda Triangle, and to see with his I'm getting tongue-tied, his mediumistic abilities, what sort of insights he has about these power places. So anyway, that's going to be Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, the psychic explorer, is going to be our speaker on September 18th. And then our next speaker in October, I'm really happy to have her too. She's Kirsty Salisbury, and all the way from New Zealand is going to be zooming in. We're going to be doing that presentation a bit later in the day, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and that's because she's in New Zealand. We have to adjust because of her time zone, so she's not talking in the middle of the night. But Kirsty is a beautiful soul. She's a co-leader of Ions Down Under, which is a Spiritual Awakenings International affiliated group. I forgot to mention that Mark Anthony, the Psychic Explorer, is also an SAI affiliated group. So Kirsty in October is going to be talking about her near-death experience that she had at the age of 12. and how that impacted her life and how it led her to do what she's doing now. Incredible work. She is what she calls a funeral celebrant. And so she helps people celebrate their lives, like have a celebration type funeral before they die. Because she figures, why miss the celebration of your life? Which I think is a really awesome concept in terms of preparing for when it's our time to cross over. And also, she's the leader of the host of the Let's Talk Near Death podcast, the SAI affiliated podcast, where she interviews fabulous people on a regular basis. So we're delighted to have Kirsty Salisbury from New Zealand as our speaker on October 16th. So just so as I'm talking here, all of these, Judith Miller, Mark Anthony, Kirsty Salisbury, all of these events, you can register for them already. They're posted on the Spiritual Awakenings International website. You just go to the events page and you can register for their events, and you'll be sent the Zoom link the day before the event. And they're all free. And we are donation-based, Spiritual Awakenings International. So while you're there on our website, if you'd like to help support our events so we can keep them free, we will accept your donations. We invite you to give them to help us offset our operating costs. So anyway, moving right along. November is going to be an interesting speaker. This is going to be Ben Riggs. And he served in the U.S. Navy as an aviator. And he's flown all these different aircrafts. I'm not familiar enough with aircrafts. He told me about them. But he's going to be talking about different types of STEs that he was exposed to while in the military and that he's heard about from other people, other veterans in the military, people serving in the military. Now, you might think this is just things like near-death experiences. Oh, that's only the start. That also, actually, his first exposure was about reincarnation and past lives. So that was the first type of STE that he was experienced to when he was in the military serving as an aviator. Of course, he had to be completely in the closet, and anyone in the military, he said at that time, had to be completely in the closet. Otherwise, you might not get your security clearance, you might not get your assignments. So it's been a real challenge for our military and our veterans who are having STEs. So I think it is so important that someone like Ben Riggs is talking about it, even if it doesn't make a military personnel or a veteran feel safe enough to come out of the closet. At least they know they're not alone, that there are other people in the military, there are other veterans who are having STEs. But the one that I think is really going to pique people's interest is his UFO stories. So as an aviator, boy, he's got an armload of UFO stories. Sometimes that people think things are UFOs, but when the military investigated, really they were not. Like, he can't breach classified evidence, but he did say that, at least one occasion that he knows of, what was reported as a UFO was actually some experimental thing that the U.S. aviators were flying around. So that can happen. But he said there are other times that, there is no explanation. It's really, really well documented, including he has firsthand accounts from the crash at Roswell, the UFO alien crash at Roswell, which he says he has firsthand evidence that it really was a physical spacecraft and that there were alien beings on board, potentially also survivors. So to me, when I heard him tell me this story, I thought, wow, this is something that we need to share with our viewers. So everybody, that's Ben Riggs in November, talking about many types of STEs that he was exposed to in the military. Then in December, we're going to have my very favorite upcoming speaker of them all. Because in December, yep, it's going to be Tamara Caulder Richardson. Do you want to say any sneak peek about what you're going to talk to us about in December, Tamara? December 18th.
Yeah, I'll mention a couple things. It's funny because when I spoke briefly on my multiple spiritually transformative experiences at the SAI conference in June, people really, it was very well received. They wanted to hear more about the Jesus stuff and the channeling. Well, some of you that know me, I have the Jesus Speaks, but it's, because of all the craziness out there, I've kind of pulled back on some of that. But I'm going to give you some some really cool information of mystical experiences I've had with him. Also including, I'll throw in my NDEs, but mystical experiences and what I'm getting now. See, so you got to sign up for the Zoom.
All right.
It's I'm a little nervous, but this is the reason that I decided to do this. First of all, I checked in with him. The other thing is this is a very safe platform for experiencers. So whatever you're talking about, you will be met with love and support. And so that's why I feel comfortable enough to do that. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but it's not always safe to give your opinion these days or or give your experience or your story or communicate in any way. So that's why I feel like it's such a loving, supportive platform, which I don't know if you've mentioned. I mean, it is by experiencers, for experiencers, but I have participated in several, and I am going to give a little testimony right here. I have been a part of many afterlife events and also being a speaker and a participant. And I felt like the SAI conference in June was so smooth. And I know it was a lot of work to it, but it was so smooth and it had such a sweet, beautiful feel. And everybody was so supportive. And I don't know if I've ever told you that yet, Dr. Kason, but I was very proud to be a part of it.
Why, thank you, Tamara. And I was delighted to have you as a part of it too. So anyway, we're almost running out of time. So I'm going to move on to our January speaker. And I'm going to this is the last one I'm going to talk about in this speaker spotlight. Our January speaker is going to be Lewis Brown Griggs. And Lewis is a multiple NDE and multiple STE experiencer as well. Like I told you, our next 6 speakers are all experiencers. I think all of our speakers until the next conference are all experiencers. But I think his most fascinating near-death experiences that people will want to hear is that he caught COVID-19 in 2020, and he was very seriously ill, and he was on a respirator for a long period of time, and he had 2 cardiac arrests. So he died twice when he was on the respirator, and he had a powerful near-death experience each time. And he's going to tell the incredible story where he felt, I'll just give you a teaser so you'll have to come and listen to hear more. But like he felt like he was in some sort of a geodome and he could sense the other souls that were there. And he just sort of intuitively sensed that this was like a place that people who were on COVID respirators were all going, that there was like a collective there, and that people would be sort of disappearing. And he felt that when they were disappearing, it was their time to cross over into the light. Anyway, that's all I'm going to tell you because it's incredible. He had 2 major near-death experiences earlier on in his life before this, but I think the COVID story is really hopeful. And I really wanted him to be our speaker, and I'm delighted he's going to be our speaker because there was something been wondering, and I'm sure many people were wondering was, gee, how many people that are getting really seriously ill with COVID are having near-death experiences? And could this be maybe a silver lining, that when God shuts a door, a window opens, right? That there's always a positive, that this is helping in some way the spiritual awakening that's happening on our planet, because we're getting a mess load of NDE experiencers all over the planet. So anyway, so that's our exciting lineup for the next 6 months. And we've got more speakers, incredible speakers lined up all the way to our next conference, which is going to be online again in June of 2022. So Tamara, thank you for giving me this opportunity to promote the events that are coming up with Spiritual Awakenings International. And I just want to mention to everyone here again that Tamara's Seeking Heaven YouTube show that we're on right now is an SAI affiliated group. So thank you, Tamara, for your love and support. And Tamara, bless her soul, generously serves on the Spiritual Awakenings International Advisory Board, and she is our marketing chair. So we love having you on the team, Tamara. Thank you so very, very much.
So honored.
And once again, to everyone listening, our events are the third Saturday of every month. All our events are free. You can register on our Spiritual Awakenings International website that Tamara has listed there. And we also have an SAI YouTube channel that you can check out and subscribe to. So thank you, Tamara.
Well, thank you. Everything sounds incredible. You have a lot of people still popping in. You can also see I'm going to put at the very end the speakers that that's going to be coming up from 2021 to January. So at the end, if you want to pause this, when you look at it, you can see the lineup, and it will also be on the spiritualawakeningsinternational.org website as well. Plus register for the event that's coming up with Judith Miller. She'll be terrific. And also subscribe, watch episodes, make comments. I really appreciate that. And check out the membership perks for the Seeking Heaven channel. And thank you, Dr. Kason, for always being a guest on the show and the hard work that goes behind getting all these speakers and really having an organization that is so similar to what I'm trying to do, a spiritual community that's a safe platform for experiencers and truth seekers. So thank you so much. And God bless you.
Thanks for having me, Tamara. Bye, everyone.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.